Hey everybody, Raj from Peake ReLeaf here, joined by a awesome panel of very special guests coming with us from SunMed Growers. We have Rachel, Jordan, and Justin from the SunMed team, and of course from Peake, our very own Nate, one co-owner here, joining us on this very special panel to chat some agriculture, some grow stuff. All kinds of fun things. Nate, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, for sure. So for those who don't know me, my name's Nate. I'm one of the founding members at Peake ReLeaf. And yeah, I'm actually from Baltimore originally, but I moved out to Colorado about 11 years ago and got to see the cannabis industry in its infancy. The medical market was just starting then, dispensaries were just coming around, and I got to watch that transition into adult use. And my background is actually in cultivation. I worked for a hydroponics supplier, so we help people source media like soil, cocoa fiber, equipment, lights, irrigation equipment, all those types of things, help people with fertigation schedules, integrative pest management, and really helped cultivators large and small start to navigate that transition from medical into an adult use program. And, when this really started, zoning was a big issue. Most of the areas where people got to zone correctly were pretty dilapidated, old warehouse buildings, areas that hadn't been used in a long time. And it certainly wasn't akin to, normal agriculture. And as time went on and things sort of loosened up, regulations got a little bit more fine-tuned. You started to see more traditional agriculture practices start to get added to it. But honestly, greenhouses were just starting to come about in Colorado when we actually did our application here in Maryland. And so when I've been in many of my tours here at SunMed, what they're doing is absolutely impressive. The amount of thought and care that goes into their automation and to sort of engineering and agricultural mindset out there is really awesome. And so I'd like to just hear a little bit more about SunMed's backstory, and then we'll hear a little bit more personally about what you do. So,
absolutely. Well, thank you, Nate, and thank you to Peake ReLeaf for having us. Happy to be on this panel and kind of talk about our shared values as two cannabis companies here in Maryland. So SunMed's story, as I like to think, it's a simple one. We're a simple company that's focused on doing one thing and doing one thing really well, and that's growing quality medical cannabis. So our company founder and owner, Jake Van Wingerden, is the sole proprietor of SunMed Growers. He's a third generation Dutch style greenhouse grower. So large scale horticulture is embedded in his DNA and into the DNA of this company. When we started, we broke ground with the intention of being one of the biggest growers in the state of Maryland. And honestly, we haven't stopped growing since we got here. We know that as much as we can grow as much as Maryland patients want, need, and deserve. So basically, we take a horticultural approach to growing cannabis. So when we first started this company, we were one of the original licenses awarded as a grower in the state of Maryland, and from that point, we've just been focused on being that good neighbor and being that good grower for the state of Maryland. So in an industry that's kind of defined by multi-state operators and large kind of vertically integrated companies, I think SunMed does a great job of being that neighborly, friendly, family-oriented grower. We're right here in Cecil County. We have our sole location here, and this is where we plan to be and to grow. When we started, obviously, only a handful of employees. By the end of our second year, we had reached about 50 employees. And then now with our recent expansion where we tripled in size, we've actually almost tripled our staff as well. And we're happy to say that we employ almost over 150 people here at SunMed Growers. And as we look towards the future, we just look forward to continue to foster relationships that we have with our dispensary partners and patients across the state. So I think what you'll see is a local company that's locally focused, and that's what SunMed does. And then my role here, since I've kind of I'm proud of the company that I work for as compliance manager. That's my role. I'm compliance manager and the public relations manager here for SunMed Growers, and make sure that our standard operating procedures are well documented and well within the regulations. And I like to say that basically the difference between what we do and an illicit market is paperwork, right? So I make sure that everything that we do and every process we has a piece of paper attached to it, something that we can track and trace and hold ourselves accountable to. So.
At SunMed, our grower media of choice is Coco Coir, derived directly from coconut husk. Blocks of coconut husk are ground down and added to one of several hoppers on our media mixing conveyor belt. This is machinery you can find in greenhouses all over the world, and leveraging this horticultural technology in the cannabis space is part of what sets SunMed apart. The Coco Coir is mixed with perlite and other natural media and inoculated with beneficial microbes that help to protect our plants from start to finish. This is all mechanically mixed together and fed into a 2-piece basket pot that we actually helped design. This helps to both aerate the roots and diffuse high temperatures that can be found in a greenhouse. Together, this creates the final pot and final home for our plants as we send them down the line.
We basically just do a one transplant system. So those final pots move into our vegetative room, and then that vegetative room is where Rachel says they receive, that 20 hours of sunlight.
And then when do those annoying tags get introduced? What size is the plant?
Those tags get introduced at transplant. So when I take my cuttings every week, I write down what the mother plant tags are, and then I give this all to Justin in a log, and I keep track of how many cuttings I've produced each week, and each crop that we have has its own crop card and label. So then once they sit in my room for 4 weeks and do their time, get their roots on, they go out to transplant.
I think the automation that we take video of will kind of have to do a little bit of speaking for itself to explain the cranes, elevators, and rolling tables that we have. But basically what's easiest to imagine SunMed is that everything moves in a circle, both, metaphorically and physically, it all moves in a circle. So it starts in one area and moves around the facility until it's time for harvest. So in that circle, it'll hit propagation, it'll hit the bedroom, it'll hit flowering, then into our dark room, which is part of our little secret sauce, and then into our harvest area. But it's literally all one physical circle, one lap around the facility, and that's when a plant stock is done. It's 4,000 to 5,000 cuttings a week, and then in our facility, currently, at any time, there are 25,000 metric tagged plants. So between flowering and vegetative growth, it's about 18,000 plants in flower and about 7,000 plants in veg at any given time.